All right, so last time we ended with you um, deciding to go into the ranked ladder pool. Your goals were to scout 2.0, where that was like you not only scouting the opponent's space, but scouting where the opponent would have to go for more resources and think about how to cut those off
Yep.
with your more aggressive play style. Talked about how it's a continuous work on the macro, checking your villager splits, asking if my resources split correctly for what I'm trying to do. And lastly, just be aggressive as much as possible. Go in too much to learn kind of your boundaries and what it takes to do damage.
Yep.
Um,
That last one I think I've been okay on.
mhm.
The other two still definitely need work. So
Yeah, and those are definitely those
should be in
two.
the online category.
Oh, you're online. Okay, those
Yeah.
two will definitely be ones that might be goals multiple times in a row. Like we're starting to get into the range where your goals are not going to be something that are solved in 1 or 2 weeks.
Right.
It's stuff you have to work on for a while, but keep in mind continuously.
Mm.
I do want to shout out. You've won no 4 of your first 5
I
ranked
went.
games.
Yep. Yep. I went 4-0 and then lost the last one.
Amazing. I wish Relic didn't do a random small patch and ruin all the the replays so we could watch more of them.
Yeah.
But we have these
Yeah.
two, and I think both of them show really good stuff. I'm actually start with the victory.
Okay.
Do you remember this game?
Yeah, this was the guy that was very friendly, said he'd take it easy on me, and then I was like, "Yeah, don't do that." And, I told him I was new, and then he didn't believe me. So,
Yeah, I bet what he probably did is he opened up your profile, saw you only had a few games played, and went, "Oh,
mhm.
newbie, I'm probably gonna crush this guy." And you came in with a game plan, and you executed. Um, so I want to talk. We want to think through what you did well here, as well as what you could be doing better in relation to the goal, because I think this match really shows you both do well and where you need to work on those 3 goals.
Yeah.
So you start off with a strong scout pattern. You're doing your same opening you've always done. Um, you know your location. This map's interesting with the gold in
Yeah.
the center. That usually you have some really juicy food sources nearby, and you have this like murderer's row of amazing food sources. Just like
Yeah, I got lucky with the boar spawn for sure. What map is this again? I don't
this
even
is it's
remember.
called Gorge, I think.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's all the resources on the outside, and then all the extra golds in the center. So if it goes castle, it becomes a fight for the center of the map. Then you reach
Right.
your opponent's base. You age up, he ages up. This age up timing suggests he probably did not do second TC as Japan, and second TC takes a little bit longer because they
Yeah.
go on that stone from the start.
And that's like a defensive play style, right?
Yeah, if you go 2 TC, that means that you're trying to boom, which means he won't have units. He's going to have to defend more. And what
Okay.
Japanese players have kind of learned is that it's hard to run that 2 TC style against very aggressive civs. And
Okay.
so I've seen more and more of them drop the 2 TC and go into a 1 TC play.
So they're the most popular civ right now, right? So I should expect to see this at some point. So if I scout and I see two TCs, so I should just be even more aggressive than normal?
Yes. And here's how you
Okay.
tell. When, as we said, you will always, every civ's going to start with at least one of each resource around them.
Right.
When you go by the stone, click on it.
Yeah.
One, if there's no forge, that's probably true. But even clicking on it, you can see did they take any resources out of it.
Right.
And if there's no resource taken out of it, then that means they're not doing 2 TC at this moment.
Mhm.
Um, but that's the best way to check. And you saw that since he had a forge on gold, he's not doing that.
Yeah.
Now, usually the 2 TC Japanese play start. You will notice the stone. They'll start on the stone. They'll get all their gold because Japan gets gold from mining stone and stone from mining gold.
Right.
Um, on a normal civ that's not Japan, you would notice that if you come by after feudal, they're sending villagers to stone. That tells you, yep, they're mining. And if you ever go by a stone that has no villagers on it, but there's a mining camp, click on it. And if there's roughly more than 300 resources gone, they went second TC.
Okay.
Which just means you have a window to attack before that second TC pays off. Because if you think about it, if they're doing 2 TCs, what is that? What does that mean for their resources?
Well, they're gonna double them basically, right?
If they can get the villagers out. But
Right.
early on, they had to sink 750 resources into a TC.
Yeah.
That's not into production units. and they have to start spending double on villagers. So it means they're down an extra 50 food every time. So
Okay.
until they get enough villagers out for that to pay off, you have a window as the aggressor to do something, which is either take down the second TC or kill villagers or starve them of resources. They can put a second TC here, but if they can never get more resources, it won't do them any good.
Yeah.
You scout around and you notice all their starting resources. You know where everything is located. You have your attack spots, the berries, and the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you come out and immediately start making knights. And my first critique, you have the board, which is great. My first critique is you already have plenty of resources to spend. At this point, the second you hit 150 wood, I should see an immediate blacksmith or immediate archery range.
Okay.
I would say you do the archer range if they're quick with getting spearmen out. You should do the blacksmith if they're kind of slow and you've done some damage. Drop the blacksmith first. Get your ranged damage in your ranged armor, and then drop the archery range.
Mm-hmm. And then mill after that.
That's a good question. You're gonna naturally build a mill on the boar that you kill.
Yeah.
And so once.
That's where I have them rallied right now as well, right?
Yes. What I would suggest is don't rally onto the boar. Send 8 villagers immediately to the boar.
And then rally to the sheep.
And
I see.
Because you'll get so much from the boar immediately. And yeah, rally to the sheep. Then once you build that mill, get wheelbarrow as soon as possible.
Okay. Gotcha.
And of course, save 50 so you can build the lumber camp, and you also make sure you get a house. But if you do all the straggler trees, you'll have plenty of wood to do that. Yep. And now it's just reading and reacting and trying to do as much damage as possible. Servant of a Night. Once again, I think you're playing it safe by bringing your scout in before you go. I think the first night that gets there can go ahead and just where his villager is right now. You go in, you kill one, you then rotate out. What's beautiful is you rotate out over to John. And now you're sitting here, and what I love is that you keep the rally point to the same spot, and you're going to do what is definitely a more high level 2-night dive. So you dive in on this side, boom. You don't over chase, and then you wait for him to come back.
Yep, and I see the spears on that side.
But here's the thing: they're not spears.
Oh, they're not spears?
Oh,
okay.
So you definitely could have fought them, especially before they ended higher numbers. On just 2, your knights would shred them. But
so at this point right now, I don't typically click on their units just to see, so I'm just kind of relying on the visual.
Here's how to tell.
And I need to, yeah.
The spears, it'll be straight up. On a Badesha, hold them out like that.
Okay.
Spearmen will only do that if they're command queued to hold still.
I see.
Besides that, they will stand point up.
Okay.
So you go in and then you run out, and then the second you run out, you come over and you bring these guys in, and it is a beautiful, beautiful move. Don't worry about burning them. Just get out.
Yeah, that was just the Knights auto doing that.
That was masterful. Yet, that's requiring so much micro. Let's check back home. Let's check our resources. Yeah. Let's check your base. What's going on?
Got a ton of food.
A ton of food.
And a ton of wood.
Ton of wood. So you're on the boar and deer with 21 food villagers. This is a good learning moment. In the future, do you need 21 food villagers at this moment?
No, especially if I'm on the boar.
No, especially if you're on the boar. That's critical. Be on the boar gives you some wiggle room. I think you could have done 16 on food. 8 on boar, 8 on sheep.
Yep.
You also have 300 wood. That's your archer range. That's your stable. That's your barracks. Since you have your opponent on the ropes, it's actually okay at this point. Just drop 2 barracks and go for it.
Okay.
Though if you want rams, you'll need to get the barracks stack. But
you're saying barracks?
No, sorry, I meant blacksmith. Blacksmith.
Oh, okay.
But at this point, this is a good pause point. You've done damage. I would send these knights back to this corner or back out. And then this is when you do your rebalance. Come back. All right. I'm rallying. I should put this on gold. I'm going to move 4 villagers to wood. I'm going to drop an archer range and a blacksmith. Cool. Going back, I'm doing another raid. And by the time that raid's done, you come back And now I'm gonna. And what you can do is when you start building the archery range, put the archery
Yep.
range and the school cavalry on a hotkey.
Yep, I have been doing that.
Sweet. And the second the archery range gets up, you're rallying archers up.
Yep.
Because once again, if we play the game of let's rebalance these resources into a perfect world, you have an archery range. You've already produced 2 to 3 archers, and you have 2 more knights on the field.
Okay.
That's just too much food. So now we know if I'm on boar, I can reduce the amount of villagers. Small thing, but that's the sort of macro stuff that when you start playing better people, the amount, getting a few more archers out, getting a few more knights out is the difference between winning or losing. But this is a victory right here. You box him out of deer. He's already overwalling. You lose this knight, which sucks. But look at what these Anabadesha are not doing work on this knight.
Yeah, they're not.
But while they're distracted, you run in, you hit. I mean, it's a destruction. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Come in, finish him. You're bullying him now, honestly. But you have way too much on food. I love that you got wheelbarrow first. I would suggest wheelbarrow and then survival techniques because it will greatly increase how much you get off the boar and deer.
Okay.
But still no blacksmiths. That's been kind of a weakness I've noticed is that you're really late on blacksmiths.
Yeah, I do tend to forget the blacksmith.
But even then, getting down a market and selling some food and then buying wood is a quick way to balance that out.
Mm-hmm.
Food is one of the things I hate selling the most because it's such a prime resource, and unless you have farms, it goes away. But when you have this much of an imbalance,
Yeah.
like you're hindering your own ability here. And then you don't go away. Here's what I like. A lot of times when people do this point, they're like, I guess I'm done. No. I like just burning the farms. You get 4 XP for every farm you burn. You're outside of TC range. Like, this is a great use of time. Just burn all the farms.
And
one small thing. Oh, no, go for it.
Oh, I am happy to say that was not an accident. I did notice that, and I was like, well, if the TC's not hitting me and he's not getting spearmen out, then I'll just take the free XP. So
hell yeah. Now, here's the question.
Yeah.
You've scouted very well. You know everything that's on the map except in here, but I don't think there's anything could actually be in here. It's just stealth.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's the potential thing you're missing here? You've pushed him off this food source. What could be happening?
Well, he could be getting sheep still or wood.
He's probably running low on sheep. You know his wood's right
Or
here. You could dive the wood line. Yes, that's the worry to me. He stays off wood because you're right there, but you could have got wood here. But my thing is that this is a prime time. Here's what I do a lot against Gendark. I know they killed the boars. The second they start focusing my base, I will send 6 villagers out and YOLO to the boar.
Okay.
Because I need it. And I know he's probably on the board near his base, but not on the board near mine. Some good Gendark players will immediately tower up and take the boar near the base. Okay. So that's a cheeky thing to do. After you get wheelbarrow, if you have him really stuck, I would do that. Send 5 villagers out, tower, get on his boar, and take it.
Yep.
But this would be the time for a desperate player to be like, I gotta just fucking get on a food source and run out and get on the deer and get on the boar and just go for it. So my suggestion is once you've pushed them off a resource, ask yourself, where do they have to go to get this resource, and send 1 or 2 knights to that spot just in case.
Yeah. And I think I've done that in 1 or 2 of my games already as well. Good. Myself against that 40-minute game against the English player. I think I did that did that too. Did that same thing.
Like if you put them in a desperate situation, expect them to make a desperate move. I like to check. You're way ahead at this point, so it's just like checking to see what you can do. And this is when you're so late on siege engineering. But once again, look at your resources.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is that you're not spending it, but why can't you spend this food? What are you missing?
Another archery range or
you still have the goals. Yeah. You could drop 2 more stables. You can't make more because you don't have the goal for it.
Right.
So remember, if you want to produce knights regularly, for every knight you want to produce regularly, you probably need 4 more villagers on gold. For that 100 gold. So to produce 1 knight regularly out of school cavalry, you probably need 8 to 10 villagers. You drop another stable, you probably need 12 to 14. And you just kind of work your way up that way. But you're burning through your food without the ability to spend it. With more production, you could have double the army size at this point.
Okay.
Now you did a great job boxing them in, so you're fine. And now you're.
Well, I could have won this way sooner,
or even more decisively. I think you won this pretty fast. The one thing you're going to do differently is going to drop the ram probably 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this guy didn't really have a chance at this point, and he knew, so he quit. So the biggest thing on this one is macro. And how we can tell
Okay.
that is when I'm watching the replay, how are my resources looking? What did I have too much, too little of? And during that cycle, realizing that, and in the moment fixing it, you never in the moment actually rebalance your villagers. But also on the next game, go, okay, I know I can have less villagers on food if I'm on that boar and push them to something else.
Yeah.
But good win. This
This
defeat.
this one's bad. This one is very
What's
bad.
interesting is one, I think this guy did for a goal player did an amazing strategy for Gen Dark. Um, and he's gold. I don't think this is someone's Smurf because even if it's a good player Smurf, they would have gotten up higher at this point. So I
Yeah.
think he literally just had this idea and ran with it and it worked.
Hmm.
Um, I want us to theorize why did this work so well. But I thought it was. I mean, you have to hand it to him. It was pretty clever. You just saw my. I've been on quite a loss streak recently. Um,
Oh, I didn't even see
I
it.
think I lost my last 5 games. That happens.
Oh,
It happens, especially when you're playing. I'm
yeah.
playing Order of the Dragons. It's not the best Civ right now. I think it's
Yeah,
potentially
that's
really
what I
good.
hear.
I'm still working it. I'm still working it out though. I'm still trying to.
Right. That's Holy Roman Empire on steroids, right?
Depends on what steroids.
Okay.
It I would say it's the most different from its original.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Like Gen Dark and France still actually like function the same. You're still accomplishing the same goals, just slightly different ways. Zuchi Legacy in China play relatively the same, though. I would say Zuchi's is just a more active, heavier
Hmm.
tempo, and I can't say the name correctly. Ayubids
Yeah.
is wants a little bit more tempoed Abbasid. Order of the Dragon just plays different, just plays way different, but
Oh,
it's the
okay.
same civ. It's kind of weird. Okay, so you come in and I'm curious for you to explain to me what you're thinking here. So this is the Cliffside map. What
Hmm.
would you say is unique about Cliffside? Do you remember this map?
Uh, yeah, there's just a big ridge in the middle, I guess.
Big ridge in the middle, but think about this map in comparison to the one we just looked at.
There's gold everywhere.
Gold everywhere, so it's kind of harder to cut them off from that gold resource, and harder to
Yeah.
come off of any resource. It's just a lot on the map. But when we think
Mhm.
about placement, and I'm just gonna pause here. I'm gonna reveal the map. You and your opponent are super close to each other.
Yeah, so I found that out because I think I run the scout, if I remember correctly, I run the scout like way behind him too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, where the hell is the guy?
I think
And I realized that we were much closer.
I think outside of Mountain Clearing, which is a map from last season,
Hmm.
this map is spawns you closer to the enemy than any other map that's been in the right pool.
Okay.
It is insanely close, which allows you to do a little bit more unique things when you're this close to your opponent. Um, so you get a lot of sheep. You're doing a good job noticing resources. You know where the gold is. All the gold's in the center though, generally. So like while there's a lot of gold. It's all like aligned on the center of the map. Go for each feudal. And China actually generally wants to boom. You'll see China go 2 TC.
Hmm.
So you want to check their stone. And
Yeah.
we're pot blocked.
Yeah.
There we go. And we're not making villagers.
Yep.
Oh no! Sloppy opening.
Oh, yeah, this was a bad one.
Bless you. Happens. Just make sure we're always whatever button you put your TC on, you gotta hit it. Like, have you watched the pros play? How much they click in the beginning? You need to be
Uh,
almost that level of just checking your town center constantly when the game first starts.
yeah, I have been watching more Age of Empires videos, so
Mm-hmm. If you watch Beastie play, he'll click an insane amount.
it sounds like he's abusing his keyboard.
And part of it is to keep warm. Part of it is to kind of get used to just moving your fingers that fast. So
Right.
good pick off here. But I want you to there's something you might want to notice here that's important.
There's a shit ton on food,
Shit ton on food.
and they're building close together.
Mm-hmm. What they're building super tight. Is there anything on gold?
No.
Nothing on gold. Did he have something on stone?
No.
No. So he doesn't go 2 TC. And
Mhm.
what China almost always does, and you probably don't know this yet, is that they do both their feudal landmarks because they get a villager production bonus. They produce villagers faster in Song.
Wait,
Song Dynasty.
two of their feudal
Yeah,
landmarks?
China and Zushi's Legacy can both build both landmarks from each age.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and they in fact get bonuses from doing that. They're called dynasties. So
Mm,
if China
okay.
builds both feudal landmarks, they
Yep.
get more villagers. If they build both castle landmarks, I think it's their units move faster. If they build both imperial landmarks, their dynasty units are stronger.
So
So
they can build two landmarks from the same age, but only for one age.
they can do it for all the ages, but they can only get the bonus for the age they just completed.
Oh, okay.
So if they complete both castle landmarks, they lose Song Dynasty and go into the Yuan Dynasty.
I see.
Zushi's
Okay.
Legacy is similar, though the dynasty bonuses are different. Um, but he doesn't build both, so he's saving
Yep.
resources. The last thing you might have noticed when running through is the Imperial official has a power that
Mhm.
if they focus on the barracks, they can produce units
Mhm.
faster. So they're producing spearmen every
That's how he
6
was.
seconds.
Oh, okay. He was pumping those motherfuckers out. I was wondering how that was happening so
Mhm.
fast. Okay.
And here's what's crazy: look at his resources in the top
Yep.
left. Look how
Yeah, he's
perfect
spending them.
and he knows exactly what he needs. He needs a lot of food, some wood, and he's doing no gold. He has enough gold
Right.
to get siege engineering.
Yeah, I
So
should have just destroyed food villagers here.
you should just dove immediately. Like he's chasing
Mhm.
you, and what you can do is you can send one knight in and circle another knight around. I would get to here and just send the sheep back because he's stuck in his base.
Yep.
But one, he is only going spearmen. You've seen his production; it's only spearmen. So you should have
Yep.
immediately dropped a bear. You're
An
rallying
archery
to
range.
wood, which is great, but immediate archery range, immediate second archery range, and
And
just
blacksmith.
pump archers, until you see him go horseman. Honestly, until you
Right.
see him go horseman, you just pump
Yep.
archers.
Okay.
So you run away, and this should have kind of sent alarm bells in your head. This is such a weird setup. So you kill the boar, and once again you send one villager out, and you also did the far boar. I would have done the closer boar. And as we talked about, send a group of 5 or 6 villagers out to do it.
Yeah.
You get another night out, and once again macro imbalance. Now you have a lot of gold, but you're not
And
able to
nothing
spend
else.
it because you don't have a mill out and you don't have a barracks out.
Yeah.
Then you run in again, and you notice 4 spears again, but a
Mhm.
lot of food and a market, and he's still
Still
not on
no
gold.
gold.
And if you saw this should tell you he's all in. No gold.
Right.
He is doing something. I need to be ready. At this point, I would have taken my scout and just ran it around the whole outside of his base, and see what I could see.
Okay.
You send another knight. Because at this point, you stop here and you don't move. And this is what killed you. Is that
Yep.
you stopped probing. Keep rotating around his base. You saw him patrolling right here. You could have come in up here and
Yep.
dove in again. But here's the last thing that should have really set alarm bells in your brain. So once again, you're building way too many archers out of one archery range. It's better to have 2 archery ranges at this point. But
Mhm.
you go in, and this should be putty Dijon. Go in there, Holy Wrath, heal. You can kill these spearmen no problem. What you do is you back your knights out and let Jean charge in. And then once they start attacking Jean, you do Holy Wrath, you send your knights in, and you heal. You go back in, you sneak to the back, and here's what you should have seen. He's still on all this food. You come in, you kill that, and then look at all these fucking spears.
Yep. And this is the point of the game where I was like, well,
That's
I don't know what to do.
when I watch this, I'm like, could this work in my game? Like, could I, if I'm playing Jean in this way, could I do this as Order of the Dragon? Like, it was an interesting idea where he's gonna overwhelm you. His little strategy is, since I can produce spearmen really quickly. I'm just gonna make a shit ton and just go for it.
Yeah, and he did. He did overwhelm me
Yeah,
for sure.
and why does that work on this map?
Uh, uh, because we're so
You're
close.
so
Yeah.
close. This was Gorge or Dry Arabia or any other. He has to cross the entire map without you noticing and then do it, which is insanely dangerous. This is a walk in the park. Like, he
Yeah.
seriously has no distance to cover to do this. So you get out, and honestly, you could have sent John back in and done another Holy Wrath and run and come back in and do another Holy, like, kind of kite your Holy Wrath when you're being chased by Spearmen like this.
Okay.
He runs away. And once again, you're coming on this interesting side. You don't have to attack the same side. He's not getting gold. Just come to the top here.
Right.
This also should alarm bells. That's a lot of fucking spearmen.
Yeah, I still don't have a second archery range.
I need a second archery range. Like, especially remember, once you got archers, you want 8 to 10 on wood. And then that allows you to add another archery range and still be making archers. But like, if I need more archers, I need to macro 2 archers. Because knights aren't going to do anything. There's way too many spears. And then unfortunately, I don't think there's anything he could have done at this point. Like once he just does the all in, you walk in and there's nothing here.
Yeah,
it's like a ghost town.
Yeah.
And then he appears. Like, for real, I don't really know what you could have done. I think what you do, honestly, is you garrison all these villagers, and any villager you have left, you have them repair the back of the town center. And when the spearmen chase you, you run them around, and you have to kill the battering rams.
Right.
Like, that's the most important thing. And he's all in you. This is everything. So it's okay to lose villagers, because if you win on this, you win. And you're trying to survive until your army can come back. It's not a huge army, but it could do something. So if you ever get all in like this, the key is I garrison as many villagers as I can, and all the rest of my villagers are just going to repair the town center.
Right.
And then suicide themselves on battering rams.
Okay.
Watch what happens. He gets on your villagers before you notice, which sucks. But you garrison them. But your town center will do work on these spearmen. You need to run. Like, your villagers just sat there and got killed. They needed to, like, if you ran them this way and he was chasing you and you kept running them around until he actually committed onto the TC.
Yeah.
Because look, it's murdering them. It's doing work on them. You had time. You're almost back. If those villagers didn't die here, but you ran them back here and then started repairing back here and then ran whenever he tried to get to you, you might have had a chance.
Yeah, I think that's just a level of micro I'm not yet.
Yeah, and something you have to work on, but like, the idea is once it gets to this point, there's nothing else that matters. Like, you moving those villagers around become the thing that will win you the game or lose the game, and that will make it easier. But how to tell if someone's doing a wacky strategy is just, are you noticing things you don't see people do usually? It's nothing on goal. For China, they're not building a second. Okay, they're not on stuff. Okay.
Yep.
There's a lot of spears, and if you had reacted to what you saw, you might have made it. Because if this attack doesn't work, he loses.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the only 2 games, only 2 things we can look at.
I have the ones from stream if you want, but
let's see. Am I
have the VOD.
What's your Twitch name?
Should be Amsel44.
Okay.
But it's not going to be a replay. It's obviously going to be the live.
Yeah, fine. Let's see if I can do it.
Content.
You said Amsel34.
44.
Okay. Follow.
Thank you.
Just trying to grow the stream.
Let me see.
Tried.
There's one where you're playing against the AI, I think.
Videos. It should be beginner games under videos. It's got WoW in the thumbnail. Here.
Oh yeah. I'm looking at Tia Daily Neob. Interesting. Okay, actually, I kind of like this. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm
Mhm.
going to screen share again.
I don't talk too much. I
That's
don't think
that's
so.
totally fine.
I just want to make sure I don't say something off the wall or something right before it joins Discord because I don't remember.
I'm just watching. I was at January 6th.
I think this is one that you'll is it this one? I think this is one that very well.
You're playing English. You should win this one. Um, just because knights are better than longbowmen.
Right. And spoiler alert, I do win this one, so.
Here's the thing: whenever I watch live, after I've watched a lot of replays, everything moves so
Mhm.
slow. Because I
Oh, you
always
can
watch.
speed it up.
I always watch it at least 4 times speed.
Yeah, go ahead.
2 times speed.
Well, two works.
Wow, a whole 2 times speed. Okay. So I'm not worried about your scouting power as much. I'm gonna get to.
Mhm.
Okay, this works. Okay, what's interesting about this, we actually get to see your thought process, like as you actually making decisions.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll just mute you.
Yeah, that was
Okay. The string.
me annoyed by macro.
Okay, so actually, let's start here. What's the first little macro mistake you've made?
Hmm. Uh, Too many on food.
Too many on food. You won't be able to build.
Yep.
You will maybe be able to build a knight, but
Yeah.
a larger issue is also you're not on wood,
Oh, okay.
and so you'll either get stuck when you build a lumber mill, but can't build a house, or
Yep.
build a house, can't build a lumber mill. So
Right.
you want to. I would say keep, because if your goal is to have 100 and more food, 140 food for a night, 100 for gold, 100 gold
Yep.
to do a night, you've got that. But you have too much food at this point, and you need to be working on other stuff. So I would say 6 on food, and put
Okay.
the rest on wood, and like two have like 3 or 4 on gold, which you
Okay.
do better in future games. But just a good reminder when watching this. So you scout,
Right.
you notice the wood line, get a little bit close. It's the English TC, and also here's the thing to remember: English archers can, English villagers can shoot.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's so frustrating. English has so many defensive advantages. One of the most frustrating places. He's already towering. Wow, one of the most frustrating, I think, strats to play against back in the day. I'm sure some English players would do it. Is you'd have English
Mhm.
players who would do like 4-5 longbow rush,
Yeah.
and then
I heard about that.
and then 3 TC, and
Mhm.
it felt impossible to go into their base because their TCs would be close to each other, and they would just they would just machine gun you down.
Yeah, I heard that they were very annoying to play against for like ever.
And especially because so many people played them, it
Yeah.
just felt like
I mean,
you'd be smashing your hand against the wall against an English player.
maybe it was just because it was placements, but I felt like I was up against a lot of English players too.
Yes, I mean you're
Yeah.
at the level where a lot of new players are encouraged to play English because it's considered
Right.
the easy civ. Which I don't necessarily agree with. There's actually a lot of intricacies to it. I don't think really any. Yes, you could argue some civs are harder than others, but I don't think it's like a massive thing. Okay, so then you go on the. So this
Should have got on the board.
share on the board. Good catch.
Yep.
2, you need to make sure you already get your archery range down because you have to know that
Yep.
they're going to build spears quickly. So that's
Right.
why I was like 8 on food, because if this is 8 on wood right now, you'd probably be getting down an archery range
Mhm.
and your next house.
Right.
To go in, he built that camp really far away. I think he was put this here so he could get stone and gold, which is interesting. You go in
Yeah.
because he has no defenses, which is great. Kill the archers, love it. Getting chased by the spearmen.
Try
You
to.
overstayed your welcome a little bit
Yep.
because you lost a knight and have half health in the other 2, so that's a little bit too long.
Right.
But hey, if that spearman chases you out like that, kill the spearman. Just turn and kill the spearman. With 2 knights, you could. What?
Yeah, that I was annoyed with. I was grouping up a villager with my army on accident.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that was a question I was going to ask you.
Hmm.
Is there a way to ungroup a single unit?
Yeah, if you, I always get a flip to my mind, but let's say you have villagers in there.
Yeah.
You
I know
either
if
need
you
to
shift click them.
you shift click and it kicks them out, and then you do
Yeah.
the hotkey again, which will create those units
Like
as,
a fresh
the
fruit.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then your long distance wood chopping, which is not what we want to be doing.
Right.
And this is the top. And one thing you'll learn by playing aggressive is how to bounce back and forth between your base and keeping pressure. That's
Yeah.
just something that'll
Holy
come with
shit. Yeah, I have too much food right now too.
it. Ooh, I love bringing. Yep. Don't over chase. There you go. You could have done another spin before you left.
Yeah.
You get the archery range out. You put it on 3. You notice how you're thirsting for wood, and part of it is that you're having your villagers
Yep.
walk across the entire map to drop off wood.
Yeah.
But we're getting.
I actually I just forgot to build the lumber mill,
Mhm.
which was just a dumb mistake.
And man, we're always getting better. But this once again, this is a perfect illustration of how, if you're looking back at this game and you're like, how many do I need on food? It's not 14.
Yeah.
Even if you built the amount of nights you could build right now, you would still
Yeah.
have 600 food.
Right. And I can only build 3 nights, right? Well, 4 now.
4 because of the gold, but that's because you're not getting any upgrades.
Yeah.
Good catch. You went and tacked a different spot, which is awesome.
Yep.
I would say here's what you should potentially stop doing. Once they get halfway to the town center, stop chasing.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Especially against English, because they do so much damage.
Right.
This is when you split villas. Don't have all your villas go to the same food source.
Yeah.
I was coaching someone this morning, and a big issue they had in a lot of their games was that they would hit a point where all of a sudden there's lacking food. It's like, well, it's because all your villagers are all getting food from the same source. You can't do that.
Right.
You're protecting yourself by not having your villagers get from the same source. When it comes to food, at least, because food is so all over the map.
So when I was doing this, would it have been okay to go to berries, or should I have
just go to the next? Send it to the next closest deer pack.
Next year pack?
The problem is that you should have gotten wheelbarrow by now, which I don't know if you have or not.
Right.
But
I don't remember. Yeah.
And just once again, look how much you're overproducing from each of your production buildings. You
Yeah.
have 5 knights coming out of your. That's just way too. Like, you should definitely have a second stable down at this point. Good picks though.
Jean dies here, I'm pretty sure, unfortunately.
Spin to win, spin to win, spin to win. Yeah, and you get caught, but you do a lot of damage in the process.
Yeah, she got like body blocked there, so.
Mm-hmm. Gotta bring in your reinforcements. No, you can't do this. Like, losing those 2 knights to spears chasing you is really bad. Here's what you should have done differently. And once again, I know it's like you're working on your micro, but here's a good micro tip.
Mm-hmm.
If you're being chased by spearmen, your archers cannot be killed if you do it correctly. So what you should have done is you set the knights off just to a different direction. Like, you literally could just click on the mini map, set them off.
Right.
And knowing that you have enough villagers saved up, 1, you could have done your quick 3 and then queue up more stuff. But then you just take a second and hardcore micro the archers. Do you know how to do the kite action?
No.
So what you do is you click behind, and so they start walking. You then click so they shoot, and then you walk again. And you just keep doing that motion over and over again. And melee units can't catch them. You might get a hit in here and there, but you just keep kiting, and eventually you'll just work them down to nothing, and you won't take any damage at all, really.
Okay.
And it's worth it because you have taken out so many of his spears. Losing 2 knights to 4 spears, that's a trade you take every single time if you're him. If your village is already out there, just build a tower. He already made it out there. Might as well do something.
Yeah.
It's also pretty funny how you keep seeing this and you don't put down a lumber mill. But this is actually a good point on how you have a pretty small military right now.
Mm-hmm.
It should be bigger because you've lost some units in silly ways.
Yeah, I should have had more production.
But you could also have way more reinforcements out with more production.
Yeah.
To buy John back the second she dies. You have the gold for it. Just buy her back.
Okay.
Don't wait for her to respawn because this is valuable.
She's worth more than a knight.
Yeah. This is valuable XP she should have been getting. And he just quits because you've killed so many villagers. That game, I think, shows a lot of... We can make a goal your micro, but you should be able to win most games just by out-macroing and out-massing most opponents.
Yeah.
When I truly see a game that you lost because of micro, then we can kind of do an intensive session of let's just practice micro fights. Like me and you can
Mhm.
get in a match and
Mhm.
build up an army, and you can practice kind of the micro
Okay.
things there. But if you want to practice it, hop in a match
Mhm.
with an AI and build a bunch of archers, and then
Yeah.
just practice walking and shooting when they
Yeah.
chase you.
Yeah.
But
So it
go for it.
so my brother's just gotten into the game and
Mm-hmm.
he's a beginner to it. Been playing some games with him, so I think I'm gonna just do some games with him against AI. And I know one of the things I really want to do is set up. Um, I want to really go through keybinds as well to make sure that I have everything keybound the way I really want to,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's a big part too. Is I'm putting every unit in my military on one hotkey, and I'm not liking that yet.
Uh-huh.
So I gotta just rearrange like the keys that I'm using, just get used to them.
Yeah, I see some like
That's one of my big goals.
I see some high level players who will
Mhm.
put every type of unit on a hotkey. So they'll do archers on
Mhm.
2, melee on 1,
Yeah.
cavalry on 3.
Mhm.
Um, I see some who do it based on location. Um,
Yeah.
who will
I've
do
heard of
like
that. That's too confusing to me.
yeah, so they'll make left side of the map's always
Mhm.
1, right side of the map's always 2.
Yeah.
And when they have to fight, if they know it's an important fight, they will then micro by doing the strategy I talked to, where they'll double click on the unit that needs to move, and they'll just
Oh, yeah.
focus on that one. And they're just
Yeah.
really good at clicking and doing that stuff. But
Mhm.
there's plenty of times where you can misclick and lose everything. But
Yeah, I feel like that's something that happens to me as well. So,
mhm. um, but yeah, I think you're showing a lot of growth. Um,
mhm.
the what's really going to get down to is how many games you can play. Um,
Right.
it's just reps. So I think if your goal is to progress fairly quickly, 2 to 3 games a day at least,
Yeah.
or else the issue being is that the more time you take between games, the more things will rust up again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you're making great growth. I'm gonna keep the goals the same basically,
Mhm.
um, and
I agree completely.
but just like keep on that thinking of how's my macro looking and carrying what you notice from one game into the next. Um,
Mhm.
keeping up the aggressiveness because it is working, and then the scouting. And it's not just scouting, and it's almost like scouting 3.0, where it's like not only am I looking for his initial resources and then his secondary resources and checking those as the fight's going, but I'm
Yeah.
also asking myself, what are they trying to do based on what I'm seeing?
Yep. And
And
that's something I really need to pick up on.
and the thing is that you won't get better at that until you play more games.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
reason I know what every Civ's gonna do is because I have both played so much that I have experience fighting against every Civ. I have tried playing those Civs myself, and I've watched pros play so much that I know what every
Yeah.
Civ's generally trying to do. And
Yeah.
so that just comes with reps at that point.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Well,
oh god.
no, I was gonna say, like as always, as you're playing games, if a
Yep.
question pops up, feel free to message me. We can talk it out. Um,
Mhm.
and just good luck. Good luck on your games.